It's not every day we get to see a new Ressence, but in the past decade and a half the brand has carved out an impressive reputation for originality and creativity. And in all honesty, it really is one of the most original brands around, with a unique take on how to display time. Not too long ago we sat down with founder Benoit Mintjens to talk about the origins and evolution of Ressence and what the future would hold. We also focused on the oil-filled Type 3 and Type 5, as those two set apart Ressence from every other watchmaking even more than the highly original orbital display of time found across all watches do. That distortion-free two-dimensional display set in oil now serves as the foundation of the brand's latest watch, the Type 7 GMT. But before we go into detail, let's get back to basics, if you can call a Ressence basic at all. It all started in 2010 when Benoit founded Ressence, which is headquartered in Antwerp, Belgium. And throughout all the watches Ressence has created, the display stands out for its unconventional yet intuitive layout. And this goes back to the Type 0, the very first watch, and runs through to this very latest watch, the Type 7 GMT. The concept revolves around the continuously rotating display of orbital indications. And during the day, the dial is ever-changing thanks to the patented ROX mechanism, or Ressence Orbital Convex System. The virtually two-dimensional display is made possible thanks to seamlessly integrated discs for several indications set into a main disc, the dial. One of the milestone watches is the Type 3, which not only removed the conventional crown, but also was the first oil-filled mechanical watch in the world. And this presented a distortion-free display in a pebble-shaped case thanks to clever engineering, innovation and use of materials. And through time this evolved into the Type 5, the brand's dive watch, and now the Type 7 GMT. This unique display, which is the red line through everything Ressence does, has become more than just a design cue. It has become the DNA of Ressence, or as Benoit puts it himself, it has become the brand. Now onto the Type 7 GMT, and one thing has to be said straight out of the box. This is not the most practical travel watch in the world, but it is one of the most original ones. It starts with a 41mm wide grade 5 titanium case, which has a rather muted look thanks to brushed surfaces. Here and there it's offset with polished bevels, but overall it looks rather sleek and almost like a proper tool watch. On top, the double dome sapphire crystal covers the dial, with a convex bezel to perfectly merge the flat top of the case with the curvature of the crystal. Around the back, the Type 7 GMT has a new style caseback with a locking outer ring and a setting/winding inner disc. We'll get to how this works in a bit, as it takes a bit of explaining. However, the use is fairly simple once you've gotten the hang of it, and on the wrist the Type 7 GMT wears super comfortable. Ressence introduces two colors from the get-go, night blue or aquamarine. The night blue iteration comes with a fixed ceramic bezel, while the aquamarine has an aluminium one. The reason why is because the aquamarine color wasn't achievable in ceramic just now. The display for both is identical, with the large white hand indicating the minutes on the fixed bezel. The largest of the three subdials tells you the hours, while also showing you the operating temperature of the oil inside. The other two subdials are the running indicator with integrated shock absorber and the GMT indication with a 24-hour scale and a red triangular pointer. The biggest benefit of the dial sitting just below the crystal and being suspended in oil is that it has zero distortions. From any angle you can clearly read the indications, and even underwater it remains perfectly legible. And being a Ressence of course, the whole construction rotates during the day, which is very much part of the fun, it must be said. As ever with an oil-filled Ressence, the movement and dial mechanisms are separated in individual compartments. The base movement is a modified ETA automatic, which runs in air, very much like a normal movement would. The minute staff transmits drive to the magnetic transmission, which in turn matches with the compatible magnetic transmissions in the other compartment. This then drives the hands and indications, which are all floating in oil, and a special bellows system ensures there's no issues with changes in pressure due to the expanding or contraction oil. You wouldn't want your crystal to pop out or the chamber to start leaking, and the Ressence has made sure it won't. The construction is very clever and unlike anything in the industry. There is no physical connection between one chamber with the movement and the other chamber with the dial mechanism. But the big question is, how do you set it? Well, that comes down to a very specific sequence of manipulations of the caseback. And first you use the outer ring by rotating it counterclockwise, which unlocks the center section. Now you can begin setting the Type 7 GMT, which is done with the center section of the case back, and you turn this counterclockwise until you hit the winding section. You'll notice a resistance in the movement when you do that. You then rotate the case back center back and forth over a 10-minute section of the dial, which kickstarts the automatic movement inside. Ressence claims this is a better way to breathe life into your mechanical Type 7 GMT instead of just violently shaking it. The next step is to exit the winding section and set the time by rotating the center section of the case back counterclockwise. A full rotation of the case back adds 1 hour to the display, and once set, you turn the case back the other way to adjust the GMT subdial. Once this is set to the correct hour, you then set the minutes by rotating it counterclockwise again. Are you still with me? And all motions are mirrored on the dial side, of course, which takes some time to get used to, and once you've figured it out, it is actually quite easy. A final thing must also be said about the Type 7 GMT's practicality. Normally a GMT indication is adjustable through the crown or a pusher set in the case back, for instance, but in this case it isn't. You need to take the watch off to adjust it if needed, which is a bit impractical. And if you're really nitpicking, it's more a dual time indication than a GMT display. Regardless, the display befits the brand perfectly, and the orbital system and oil-filled chamber make it impossible to add a corrector or pusher to the caseband. The Type 7 GMT is also the first Ressence with a bracelet, and it integrates neatly into the case. Of course, this too is machined from titanium and comes with a micro-adjustable folding glass, which is very easy to use. The Midnight Blue edition is part of the permanent collection, while the Aquamarine is presented as an 80-piece limited edition. And both come in at a price of 36,000 Swiss francs, excluding VAT. All in all, it is a wonderful adaptation of the brilliant concept by Ressence, and it combines clever engineering with very original watchmaking that's truly unique in the industry. And on that note, thanks for tuning into Monochrome Watches once again. Make sure to drop a like and comment and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date for future content. That's it for now, and I will see you again next time.